Hello. I thought it would be good to give an update based on the hybrid tropical system coming with the East Coast and just kind of a general outlook. So I thought I'd share. So let me start off by telling you the latest on this little disturbance. The disturbance has not formed into a tropical system. They can find a closed low. They do find tropical storm force winds extending out here to the east and southeast. That's what this little bubble here shows. And then they do expect that possibly it be named a storm by tomorrow or a subtropical storm. Subtropical means it's got both a northern Arctic kind of component to it as well as a regular component to it. Not Arctic, but just a regular low versus a tropical low. What's the difference between regular low and tropical low is really in the layers of the atmosphere where it's located. Tropical systems are located more in the bottom part of the atmosphere with a high above it. That's why there's an I there. There's a high pressure over top of the low pressure in the lower part of the atmosphere. And that high pressure is actually the thing that kind of causes an exhaust of all the debris and everything else and makes that storm run really, really good. And a hybrid low, you're going to get the low to stack up a little higher up in the atmosphere and not be truly tropical. There's a lot more to it. I'm just giving you a simplified kind of version of that. When it hits 40 mile per hour winds or more, it's going to become a storm. It looks like it's going to barely scrape the coast here off of North Carolina and then head out to sea. The question remains, what impact is it going to have, west of this track, and how much rain and winds and everything else? As a very quick note here, what you're seeing is tropical storm warnings and watches along the coastline, the watches in the purple, the warnings in the yellow. Despite not being a tropical storm yet, it is expected that it would become a tropical storm, or at least close enough to cause tropical storm force winds. So let me go over this a little bit of what's happening. So this is tomorrow. The low is going to ride, like I said, or the tropical storm system here right along the coast. You have a elongated or a stalled out front, not elongated, stalled out front here. Ironically, kind of getting trained into the tropical storm Harvey as well. We do have a low or a trough here, upper level low kind of coming from the west. But what you're going to get is this high to the north is very, very important. It's actually spilling in easterly winds, which are not only cool, but they're also cause a lot of moisture. So Virginia is going to see an increase in rain, especially south and east of D.C., and then maybe even all the way back into southwest Virginia, where we get a little bit of upslope here in this the Piedmont and the higher terrain. But what you have is this strong high pressure system, a low pressure system. Whether this is tropical or not, you're going to get a tight gradient, is what they call it, where the pressure systems are hitting up against each other. That gradient should cause quite a bit of winds, and winds should gust to tropical storm force, and slightly above, maybe up to 50 or above. Southeast Virginia, Northeast North Carolina are in a high wind watch for tomorrow. It's possible parts of that could be a warning. There's also flash flood watches along this area, and I'll show you how much rain I think may fall in that region in just a minute. So in general, what you have is you have rain on the increase. It's already raining down in South Carolina and North Carolina. The southern part, all associated with this disturbance, the front stalled, and the easterly component of winds. That just comes up the coast, and as this strengthens a little bit, it just gets a little stronger. And also, the elongated fetch will cause some light, maybe up to moderate flooding along the shorelines here. I'm not going to say it's majorly overwashed, but I will say the prolonged easterly fetch, even if you're not near the storm itself, could cause flooding up into the bay and even all the way up into part of the tidal Potomac up in the D.C. area. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm seeing there. I'm kind of giving you a sense of the rain, 1 to 2 inches here into the Piedmont. Not Piedmont, but southeast Virginia. I didn't go beyond that. I think a half inch may fall out west of here. And honestly, I didn't enhance it, but maybe a half to 3/4 of an inch possible here in southwest Virginia as we get a little bit of upslope and a little bit of influence of the high easterly wind coming and getting the upslope action. Some models even point to more showers out here into the Piedmont and the higher terrain to that upslope component. We'll see how that pans out. Some of the latest models also increase light to moderate rain all the way back into the Charlottesville area and in this area out here. Again, I don't think you're going to see up to an inch in this region, maybe half to an inch. Winds in general along the coast, 30 to 50 mile per hour gusts, 30 mile per hour sustained possible. As you get in a little further inland, you're going to talk in the 20 to 30 mile per hour. And once you get to Richmond area, 15, 20 Not out of the question you get up to a 30, but I mean, really, that's probably as much as you're going to get. Part of that's just the influence of the gradient. There's even breezy conditions here in Northern Virginia today, where I live, because of the gradient of the high to the north and the slow approaching from the south. So that's kind of what I think. 3 to 7 inches of rain, the higher being closer to the coast. There will be some areas of flood. There's flood watches all in this region. And would I be surprised if we see a few 8 or 9 inch rainfalls? It all depends on how things set up as far as the training goes. If that easterly component or that easterly fetch gets really set up over an area and doesn't stop, you're going to get the 5 to 7 to 8 inches maybe. But really, if that was going to happen, I would see it in this region right here, or maybe a little few areas here in some of these regions, and that's kind of what I'm seeing on some of the forecast maps. Anyway, that is it. That is my overview of this system. Not yet a tropical storm. If it does, it'll be Irma. It will come up the coast. Rains will increase overnight from south to north. Already raining down in this region, but we're coming up north. Winds will start to increase, of course, as the gradient gets tighter with the high to the north kind of pressing against it. And rain and cloudy conditions over all the region. Ironically, the clouds today are actually blow off from Harvey, if you can believe it. And that upper level low I mentioned earlier should come in tomorrow as well, also helping to cause more scattered showers and thunderstorms even into tomorrow night. Rain should start to end Wednesday and slowly improving. Thursday looks pretty dry right now. Temperatures coming up too are in the 80s. A little cooler for Friday, and then we got to watch the remnants of Harvey to see if it causes some showers over the region. It doesn't look like a widespread rain event at this point in time, and temperatures actually moderating some. And then we'll wait next week to see if another cool front comes through, which it looks like it will, and really drop temperatures for a few days. That is me in a nutshell, giving you way too much information on the storm. Please follow any local news radio outlets. If you're near the oceans, don't go swimming in them. Is not a good time to test Mother Nature. All right, thanks.